I wanted to make sure that we are putting kind of a frequently asked questions type video onto our blogs and our YouTube channel. At co-op number 7, we definitely want to make sure that we are helping with whatever you are needing in homeschooling. So that is our purpose. I had a friend ask me just the other day, what is logic and what is grammar? Aren't they subjects? Why are we talking about them like they're children? So yes and no is really the answer to this question. I want to turn you to a couple of resources where there is a lot more information than I'm going to give you here. The Lost Tools of Learning is an essay by Dorothy Sayers, and you can get a hold of that on www.accs.org. And they have a list of books that you can read, a ton of them. They also have her essay directly on there so you can read it. Also, Recovering the Lost Tools by Douglas Wilson, which is also on that list, is another great book you can get. You can usually get that from the library. So they're going to have a lot more detailed and in-depth information about this whole thing, which is called the Trivium. So the Trivium really is the way that we learn. It is a classical or even ancient way of learning that we seem to have lost in America. But it's really truly is the way we learn, and it goes with the natural patterns of how we learn. So first I'm going to kind of talk about them as levels. So there's the grammar, the logic, and the rhetoric stage. And the grammar is really a beginning level of learning. So you want to gather facts, you want to gather information, you really just want, kind of like kids, how they sponge at a very young age. We want all of it absorbed. Then the logic stage is kind of a middle stage of learning. So you've got the facts, you get them, you understand them very, very well. You know them very well. Now you're going to kind of understand why you know them. You're going to apply them, and you're going to be able to, they call it argue it. You can definitely understand it and understand why. The next stage is the rhetoric stage, and this is, you're able to explain. I don't know if you've ever heard that when you really learn a subject, you want to learn it, you want to learn it well, and you want to teach it. So in a sense, this is kind of like at a point where you could teach it to somebody. Sometimes we talking about our Financial Peace University. You want to learn about investments, you want to understand why you should do it and what everything is with that. And then you should be able to tell somebody what it means. If you can't do that, you should not invest in that investment. So that's kind of the stages of how we learn. So, and you can call that teach, argue, debate, whatever it is. You can articulate and communicate what it is that you know about this subject. So every subject really does have a grammar, a logic, and a rhetoric. For example, if you look at math. Math, you want to learn for grammar your addition, your subtraction, your multiplication, and your division facts. And you want to know those well. That's why we do flashcards, we do time tests, we do whatever we have to do to learn those very well. The next stage is you're going to start learning how to use those in bigger problems. For example, a long division problem. You need to learn you need to know what numbers go into what numbers, so you need your division facts really well, your simple ones. And then subtracting, if you do 4 minus 3 equals 2 for your remainder, you're going to get the answer wrong the rest of the way. It's important that you know that. So, and then the last stage is to really kind of almost really be able to teach it back. So, and also use it in obviously much more complicated ways, like calculus and all that stuff. So those are the stages of learning. Now if we think of this as children, it's the same thing. We go from elementary, young elementary to upper elementary ages in the grammar. Middle school is typically about your logic age, and then high school is your rhetoric age. And when they're little, those of you who have kids, which most of you should if you're looking at a homeschool video, you know that at 2, 3 years old, they copy everything you say and do. They imitate everything. If you can, and they will learn songs really well, chanting really well. So we want to use that. We want to fill them with songs about history and chanting of phonograms and spelling rules, and just get that information into them. The next stage is the argumentative stage, and I call this the second why stage. So at 3, they're asking why. Well, as I was observing my daughter with one of my friends and her 3-year-old, I was watching her 3-year-old say why, and realizing, my daughter was just doing that the other day. It just looked different. Mom, can you tell me why you want me to move the slip and slide over to this side of the yard? And I just told her, because I do. But can you give me a reason why? It's a little bit annoying sometimes. So, but we do want to use that. We want to use this stage to really start discussing with them why they learned that the history is this way. Why did we learn, all of these different facts? Why do we know these spelling rules, and how do we apply them? So it's a really great age, even though it can be a little bit annoying. We also just want to make sure we're using that. And finally, that rhetoric stage, which the well-trained mind calls the speak your mind. And this is about high school. They can communicate and articulate. They kind of know, they really know their facts, they really know their why, and even as a person, they've kind of become who they are, they've kind of questioned who they are, and now they're kind of really starting to know who they really are. And they can kind of communicate that. This is about the age where they stop caring what everyone thinks as much as they did in middle school. They still care, obviously, but not as much as they did in middle school. That awkward age. So they also start to know stuff that they're going to want to do, possibly in the future. They're going to start separating themselves out even in subjects. English, if they have an English brain, it's going to be very evident. If they have a mathematics brain, it's going to be very evident. This is a great time for them to be doing apprenticeships, volunteering in areas that they're interested in, just really kind of getting ready for that college age where they really then will be doing what they're going to do, hopefully. We won't go into that debate, though. So, as you can see, there are different levels in both subjects, different levels with the kids, and then obviously they are also subjects. English grammar is a subject. But if you look at grammar again, grammar is the basics of language. So when we talk about English grammar, that is the basics of English, and it is the basics, grammar itself, of language. If you can learn language really well with like a curriculum like Shirley Grammar, then you can learn it front ways and back ways. You can play with it. You can do it. You can take them out of order and put them back in order, sentences and things like that. You really understand grammar. And then you learn that grammar is really a formula to take a little bit further and learn another language. For example, Latin. Latin, I would definitely say, in my opinion, is like the logic to English grammar. Because if you can learn Latin, it not only helps you with your English grammar, but you have to think a little bit more. The way that it is structured makes you have to almost prove why you're using this ending with this word, and it just helps you to learn it even better. So, and on top of that, you can take Latin, and then you can learn almost any language, probably any language, because you've learned the basics of the grammar, you've learned how to use it with the Latin, and now you can turn it around and use French, which, by the way, from Latin comes French, and from French comes ASL. So the grammar is very similar, something that I did not know sooner, and when I learned ASL, I didn't understand the grammar. When I learned French, I didn't understand the grammar. So it was really difficult to actually keep a lot of what I learned. So actually, I'm excited now to go back and learn it even better. Logic is also a subject, and we just happen to do it at the logic stage. There's the informal logic, which I kind of mentioned earlier, which is the critical thinking stuff, and it's more mathematical and just kind of pre-training your brain for logic and the way that you think. And then there's the formal logic, which is more of your learning about fallacies, propaganda, assumptions, and it really is getting your brain trained how to think. And this day and age, we definitely need to know how to do this. Commercials, TV, politics, everything around us is trying to pull us into their agenda, and it is so important for us to be able to think, and that is why I feel that this logic program is so important. And obviously the classical education in itself is very important and very good. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I hope that was informative. I hope that helped you a lot to understand a little bit more about a classical education. And just remember, keep education fun. Education can be fun. Make sure your atmosphere is an home atmosphere is an atmosphere of learning, and just have fun with it. All right, talk to you later. Bye.